So the recording is up again. We also talked about the directed energy weapons when we talked about the fire on the Børs, on the Danish Børs building a year ago, approximately. It didn't make sense that this spire of this building could catch fire. It's made of stone and metal and like, but how?
You cannot. This is what I'm saying. With what I've been interviewed more than 1,300 times on my website. All of the interviews are there. You can go back and just all of these different things. Once you start looking from a logic point of view, instead of just buying into the narrative that you're being fed, it's just like, this is just impossible. This cannot happen in a natural way. Meaning it has to have occurred because of something else. Some other outer force must have been used to make stone turn into flames. You can't. That would be like you go out and you have a fireplace, and that's the rocks that you put around the fire to stop it suddenly goes like, whoa, and burns like fuel. It does not. Something else is going on. And so over the years, with all of these fires, it's very obvious that it's been coming from the outside, from up. You also see there's a lot of footage where you see like laser beams coming down and just completely frying it. There's a lot of recordings or audio recordings also where you can hear like high voltage and with laser-like precision where they can cut up like one plot is like the fire is following exactly like this, leaving some houses completely intact, including gas stations that should have just gone up in explosions, and right all the way around them, complete destruction. How is that possible? It is not. And so I have been tracking down and breathing down the neck of the perpetrators of Lahaina and many of these. And the thing where I've ended up is the US Space Force. Please go to my interviews. I've done multiple about the Lahaina, which was an absolute massacre. Horrible that the rest of the world just stood and looked. It's like shame on us. I've been contacted by the King's family of Hawaii and other people when it comes to these surroundings. I did interviews also with Hawaiian radio from the Big Island while all of these things were happening, because it's just an overtake. It is invasion, a forceful invasion and mass murder of different places. And Lahaina was just the first one. They're trying to do it step by step by step. And when you look at these operations, please think NATO. So these things where I would strongly suggest that Børsen and Copenhagen, completely part of the operation, completely connected with the Notre Dame fire, the church, which was completely impossible as well. And on the 5-year anniversary, there's a lot of these anniversaries that just boom, 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 boom. So anyway, and in Lahaina, I even tracked down how was it carried out, what was used, and so on, and the US Space Force bases, where they even have on their logo like a laser beam, like a laser sword pointing straight at Maui. It's in their logo they have had on their uniform. This has been, it's not in the secrecy. Anyway, so these Guardians and Space Force, and I also predicted multiple of these upcoming attacks in Chile, also in what was the name on the west coast of Florida, yeah, I think it was Coral Beach, where I was predicting, and then it happened. So leads that I found on their own website pointing to the next operations. We're back to this whole thing, why they tell us about what they're doing, because they fear the law of karma so much. So the US Space Force, I tell you, are a tool of death that is being used against us. And it's a very tricky one to hide from, because it's coming from above, satellite weaponry type of horror show. So when dear Mr. Cyrus Vance or whatever his name is. I know it's not, but that he is now talking about the security. Please, they are inverted. They talk about an inverted reality. When he talks about the security for the people of Greenland, it switch it, do 180 upside down. He is talking about not the security, the exact opposite. When he's talking about the rest of the world has never, it's inverted. He is talking from an inverted point of view, but it's all the time, so it sounds good to us. We care about them. It's a big block of ice and a few houses and this base up there. Why are they so interested in this? I mean, Donald Trump wanted to buy it once a long time ago. Could it be a distraction from what is actually going on at the moment? You know, there's so many things of not good things happening in the world. Is it a distraction so that we look that way?
You know what goes on in the Danish Folketing, that's the parliament in Denmark right now. Right now, they are actually discussing. They actually the defense minister is putting forward an official law or a suggestion for a law that will allow the Americans to have 3 bases in Skrydstrup, in Karup, and in Aalborg of Denmark. So at the same time as America is threatening to, and they are threatening to take over Greenland, even by force, at the same time the Danish politicians are allowing actually discussing right now, and when the government and the defense minister put forward a suggestion like this, it's actually having its first treatment or whatever, its first time up in the parliament officially on the 11th of April. So at the very same time as the vice president is in actual Greenland, at the same time the politicians are putting forward this suggestion to have 3 American bases in mainland Denmark. That's in Jutland, these 3 places of Denmark.
They've done exactly the same as Sweden. Sweden has sold out. They signed over Sweden to the Americans. So the Americans can now access Swedish military bases. American personnel cannot be prosecuted even if they murder somebody in Sweden. The Swedish legal system have no authority. It's been taken over.
I think it's 17 bases in Sweden. It's quite a lot, and it's about 20 bases in Finland, and then it's about 7 or so in Norway or something. If my memory, it's all in all, it's 40 new American bases in Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Finland within the last 4 years.
So if these had been Chinese military bases, how would people react? If they had been Russian military bases, if they had been, but now because of Hollywood and the US is the hero, please bring it on, bring it on. But notice who is doing it. And also, you have to see that these people that are in power now, I mean, I don't even know the name of these prime ministers anymore because they're just like absolute traitors. They're absolute sellouts. So for me, it's like, it's not even interesting listening to them. I know this, like this whole thing, it's not a Danish initiative. It's a complete inside job. And it's not even American either. It's a global agenda overtake of a nation called Denmark. It's a global overtake of a country called Sweden that used to be officially neutral up my butt. It has not been neutral since 1954. It wasn't neutral there either. It was neutral just because it was handy, just like Switzerland. Let's have somewhere to place the gold. And by the way, don't point any accusing fingers at massive important families in Sweden. So let's make it neutral so we can hide behind that one. The Wallenberg is one of them. I mean, badass actors in this whole thing. Looks really civilized. Look at the actions. It is hardcore.
The von Südow, the Wallenberg, Brandenburg, Prussian family. That's what it in reality it is. It's a noble family from Prussian Germany.
But it's then you see all of these actors that are under them, like their lawyers. The Wallenberg lawyers were the Dulles brothers. that was also the ones that were lawyers for Hitler and part of the whole financing through Prescott Bush and that whole thing, with the Wallenberg helping to covering, with the Manhattan Project, who was behind that. You had the Wallenberg, who's the owner of Ericsson and
Which I used to work with,
in
by the way.
sorry.
Which
Yeah,
I
I
used
know.
to work with. I worked
Yeah,
6 years for Ericsson,
I
3 of
know
them
that.
in the Middle East.
And the thing is, you're just part of a little machine where it's compartmentalized. So it's always, people don't, even if they work in the heart of this whole thing, they're not meant to see the bigger picture. And so bless you, and I'm so glad that you got out, because they're up to absolutely no good.
Mm.
And
It
when
was
you
the
look,
greatest time of my life because we had everything. You know, I went to the Middle East as a posting and paid for. I got my car and my house and my family. My eldest daughter was born in a private hospital with Swedish and South African doctors. We had, you know, we had everything. It was great visiting Sweden in Kista, to be in this Ericsson headquarter and just you know, meeting all these great Swedes and other nationalities. It was a great time. And at the same time, there was all the corruption that actually took place in the Middle East. And even my manager who hired me on, he was actually getting fined for the corruption that he partook in the Middle East. But like, I was blind to these things, totally.
money is not an issue. They can just drown you in luxury and all of these things, but it comes with a bill. You know, like one day they want you to return the favor if suddenly you're in a situation and you've received all of these gold and green forest and promises, and you've been living the good life, and then suddenly, if you suddenly start saying, I don't want, I'm gonna, you know, that's when they start squeezing you. No, it's they play very hardball, and Ericsson, the company you used to work for, is also, when you look at, with I don't know how many thousands of patents they have, they control the basic structure of the internet, and that suddenly gets scary. And the electric grid in more than 180 countries, and the grid this and the grid that and the grid this and ABB. And when you start seeing how this whole thing is done, and also when you look at so many conflicts, or when something happens in the world, there's an anonymous Swede in the background, somebody you don't really notice, he's just there. That's
Ericsson is
that's
also behind the Bluetooth technology. It's founded in Lund in
it's
Sweden.
it is all over the place. The Swedish touch is not just ABBA and Björn Borg, I tell you that it is, but they've hidden behind this glossy, beautiful poster of democracy, freedom, beautiful women, free sex, ABBA, and everything is fantastic. Behind it, it smells like a sewage, I tell you. And I say that while loving Sweden. I mean, I love Sweden. I love the Swedes,
I love
but
Denmark as well.
I'm just very concerned. I am very, very concerned for Sweden at the moment. And I tell you,
Mm.
it's like, it's bizarre to me. I've been giving the Prague Peace Prize. It's not a big prize, but it's for what I'm doing, which is telling the truth as far as I can see it.
Mhm.
I've been adopted by the Apache Nation, and now I've been informed that I can face up to 18 years in prison if I return to Sweden. Do you see? For the very same thing, I have not hit anyone or kicked a dog. I haven't killed some. How much? If you murder someone in Denmark, how long? Or in Sweden, how long is it? 12 years or something like that. And I face 18. And then because I've criticized NATO, they added another 4, so could be up to 22. What have I done? I've just
Did
tried
they
to.
charge you, Ole?
No. I've just been informed that if I return,
Uh-huh.
I might face that, and
Okay.
so it's like, I'm not saying, oh, feel sorry for me. Not at all. I'm just saying, look at how bizarre things have gone. It's just like, how can you
Mm.
how can you be awarded for something like this with a peace award of all kinds of awards, and at the same time being looked as a villain that should be put away
Mm.
and stuffed into a mental institution? Look at so many people now. Rainer Fulmisch, these people who there's quite a few that have died the last year of incredible true speakers that have been standing up, and they just like pop, 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 pop like this.
Mm.
So
I want to show a clip, Ole, which actually talks into or buys into some of the things you've talked about. You talked about Boy George. You talked about the symbolism that are used in the dates that they are choosing, and so on. Because the last time when maybe it was the time before, the last time when I was interviewing, we were talking about this Danish fire in the Børs building, and then you brought to my attention for the first time this iPad Goat 2, and I just want to show you a very short 1 minute a share of this video. Here we go. Yes. This is the kind of symbol. That's actually all I wanted to show. The Boy George has just turned into Obama, and then you see Obama just laughing it off, and in the end he seems a little bit anxious, and then the camera zooms out in this animated movie called iPad Go 2, and then you see the American flag just disappearing with the wind. And at the same time, in the background, you see this graffiti on the wall, and this graffiti on the wall is well chosen symbolism, because what we actually see here is Psalm 23, and that might not say non-Christian believers anything, but Psalm 23 is from the book of Psalms, and it's actually King David who says out this thing, and it is, to not to fear in very turbulent times, and to just serve the Lord. And there's so many meanings in the Bible, and when they talk about the Lord and Yeshua and excuse me, the Lord and Yahweh and God and so on, it's all different different connotations. It's not the same thing, but that's a different route. We're not going down that route. But like when they are using a reference to King David, we know that King David's son, King Solomon, is actually what the Knight Templars called Solomon's temple in the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. And this is where all these religions, these Abrahamic religions, the Christian and the Judaism and Islam is having a fire pot, so to say, where they have been able to wage war against each other's, all these nations with the different religious belief. So like small symbolism like this just becomes so much larger when you have an eye for these things. And when I mentioned the Knight Templars, it's of course because this Freemasonic sort of a religion or following that millions of Americans and millions of people around the world are having. They're like swearing allegiance to something different than the official position that they are actually in. You mentioned Trudeau. We can take all the others. Trump is a big Zionist, and Musk is actually out of a mother who's a witch. She's a satanic witch. It's like these things, they do matter. It's just so we don't get the knowledge from this by opening up the newspaper or the internet, because it's these things are erased from us. We don't get this knowledge. I just saw that, revisited that video, and wanted to use that as what kind of symbolism is used against us, or to symbolize what is going on to the people in the know. I hope that made sense.
Yep. They're using it. There's so much where they've hijacked these beautiful symbols and beautiful like figures, like the triangle, like some geometry, like dates, like there's so much of words also that they hijacked and weaponized against us. So I think it's high time for us to just take back the power and start using them again, instead of all the time just being scared like chickens and say yes sir, no sir, and obey, and also make people personally responsible for their actions. Doesn't matter in what position they are, doctors, nurses, politicians, prime ministers, just like you're being held responsible for your actions. They should be held responsible when they do something that is not following what they've been hired for. And here we see the exact opposite. It's complete sellout. I mean, I don't even know the name of this Danish prime minister, but I can tell you exactly the actions, the words and the actions. It was be completely loyal to Agenda 21, complete loyalty to the US, complete and do follow the exact thing now, backing Trump and Musk and all of these things, and the media will be completely pro that, completely against Russia and the East, to pump you into NATO, to make you fearful, so that we will accept more and more that NATO is the solution. NATO is just a tool for these. It's not a power itself, but it's a very scary tool, because it really is a tool of death. And when you see, like, many people in Sweden say, but what does it matter if we're part of NATO or not? The thing is, suddenly Sweden, from being a peaceful country, is part of waging wars with Swedish soldiers, women and men abroad. That is what's going to happen. They would be used as soldiers and gun fodder or cannon fodder, and not even knowing why, or understanding that this was what you signed up for, because they signed up for what they were told, which is everything is great and we're fighting for freedom and democracy. It doesn't matter almost which country you're in, it's the same thing. And then they're being used for the exact opposite.
I want to show one of these connections to what you are connecting the Danish government and the prime minister to J.D. Vance, Trump, Musk, and Peter Thiel. Because when Denmark signed, and that's actually a prior government to the previous government, when they signed this agreement with the World Economic Forum back in 2018, it was just not any agreement, even though I've met with today's what's he called? Let's see, he's not defense. He's a foreign minister of foreign affairs, and actually told him about the World Economic Forum agreement, that he was actually, no, you got that all wrong. That's a great agreement. It's about trade. And I'll just show you how it's not, because are you able to watch the screen now, Ole?
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is the agreement with World Economic Forum that Denmark made, and I've just highlighted the area here where the government of Denmark, or God, if you will, will cooperate with the center. That's the the Center for Fourth Industrial Revolution in San
You
Francisco.
you can't see the document anymore. It disappeared.
Oh, did it? So if we do
It's
like,
a gray square now.
okay, so we go back here. Can you
Yeah,
watch?
now, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So so here it says that Denmark government of Denmark will collaborate with this center and the Danish tech representation in Silicon Valley. And then you say, well, that's just a tech representation. All countries should have that. But since then, they have appointed this tech ambassador. She's actually an ambassador. She's called Anne-Marie Engtoft Melgaard. She has a 17 full employee staff in her ambassador office, representational office in Silicon Valley. It's quite crazy. And what did she do before she became the tech ambassador from Denmark? Prior to her appointment, Anne-Marie worked at World Economic Forum in 3 years. This is the kind of craziness that goes on, and she's the one who gets the address or gets all these what's it called orders from Musk, Vance, and Theil, and all these three who are central to Trump's administration. They are out of Silicon Valley. They control Silicon Valley. They are Silicon Valley. So when our tech ambassador is sitting in Silicon Valley and have a 17-man strong representation there, it's because that's where the orders are flowing from. That's the way they are helping this technocracy to take place in Denmark, and probably a lot of other countries as well. Denmark was the first country to get a tech ambassador, and as soon as we got that, we got this agreement with World Economic Forum as the first country in the world. That's how central Denmark is to this, and I agree with you, Ole. Sweden is so central as well. This is actually where the whole thing is taking place. They want this confrontation in Europe that we're all facing now in Sweden. They have given a book this thick to every single citizen of Sweden about how to survive in the wartime that we are approaching. This is so crazy. It's so crazy. They are telling us that we are about to experience Third World War, and yet no one is doing anything. Or nearly no one is doing anything. So Trump, Musk, Vance, and Peter Thiel. Who's Peter Thiel? He's like, as you said, he's not even American. I think he's a German natural, or is a South African. I'm not sure. He actually worked as a banker. He started in Credit Suisse. Back at the very same day as a Dane called Mads Palsvig started with Credit Suisse many years back. And then he actually made PayPal, and he has one of the most central intelligence companies in the world, which is Palantir. And that Palantir is using AI technology to kill Palestinians in Israel. That's how central Peter Thiel is to this Trump administration. It's all technocracy.
Yeah, he's an old Bilderberger as well. But I mean, Elon Musk, people think, yeah, he's American. He's not at all. He's South African. Is he elected somehow? And now Trump has, well, I just came back from South Africa, where, if I understand it right, the white farmers have been they have been offered to get, I think, political asylum in the US because of the things that are happening South Africa. What we're being told, I tell you, I was in South Africa some 7 years ago, and there were all of these horror things happening where white farmers were being slaughtered, really horrendous crimes of violence. And in one way, I can understand, after the apartheid years and so on, that some people that maybe have been completely traumatized with their families killed by death squads and whatever, that they want to give back or take revenge or whatever. But I already then, when I was there, I said there's something about the level of violence in these attacks that is such a literally overkill, where it feels like this is there to create an emotional impact too. And it was like, and I did interviews in those days also about this thing. I don't know where it's leading, but it feels like it's leading, and people like James Files would be assets that would be sent out and create these atrocities that was then being blamed on some local tribe or whatever, but they would be the ones doing. He was a part of a Blue Train massacre in South Africa many years ago, where this was part of an operation like not similar, but also an operation. And then suddenly we have here in the Trump agenda that this is being offered, and then they boycott South Africa because South Africa is not condemning Hamas, but is saying, being critical towards Israel. The thing is, Hamas is officially an Israeli creation. It is not a Palestinian thing at all. It's a complete psyop. So when you say Israel and Hamas as being opposite, no, it's this, and then you have the Palestinians. So that whole thing about they should have condemned Hamas instead of Israel, it doesn't make any sense. And anyone in a position like that would know better, because they would, especially when you're not connected to Israel, then it's very, very obvious what's going on here. So there's a whole thing against South Africa right now where it's the exact opposite of what was happening before. It's almost like it's really interesting when I was in South Africa, it's like the white population in certain areas are being treated almost like apartheid. They're really low class, and the ones that are almost begging in the streets, working in supermarkets, filling up the grocery bags, where we are used to see the exact opposite. It's not the white, it's the black. Here, it's really, really hard for white people to get jobs, because they have these different, that a specific percentage of the jobs should be given to the black population that used to go through hardship. And I agree. It's like, but when it goes from one extreme to the other, that has never been a good solution, because it always ends in a lot of tension and friction, and then finally violence, instead of let's find a balance. And that's where South Africa was amazing with the Truth and Reconciliation Committee, where healing occurred. All of these atrocities and actual healing occurred among some of the former victims and families of victims and the perpetrators. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing to watch. But now they're trying to somehow stir the whole thing up again. I'm not sure what's going on with this whole South Africa thing.
They're probably also out to get the farmers of South Africa, like they are in Denmark. They are making it difficult for the farmers to grow crops and feeding the population.
It's anything that is connected to food, food manufacturing or food producing in the West is being destroyed. Chickens, meat, cows, crops, eggs. They're trying to create famine. I'm sorry, I don't want to be spreading a lot of things, but it's at the same time, how much does it take before people start saying, hello, this is not really on.
Wake up, people.
It's like maybe, I don't know, you should do something about it. I'm not promoting violence or anything like that. What I'm saying is, wake up to the fact and just see it for what it is. It's not pleasant once you start seeing, holy shit, how did we even allow this to happen? I mean, I was born in Denmark. I was proud of being Danish because this was the danske smil, the soft, gentle, funny country where the street signs instead of dots over the eye had hearts, and it was marketing as the loving country. What on earth happened? Sweden, what on earth happened? But these are not, it was only one country or two countries, but it's the whole Western world is going, it's the following in the exact same step. So it doesn't matter, we're talking about Sweden, I tell you, even though I'm not sure, I can guarantee you the same thing is happening in Holland, Belgium, France, Germany. It's the same. You see where the leaders from? More or less all of them comes from the young global leaders. More or less all of them are connected to the World Economic Forum. More or less all of them are connected to the Fourth Industrial Revolution, or just another name of the absolute madness called Agenda 21. All of it connected to the elite, all of them connected to Wallenberg, all of them connected to the whole shebang. It's been out there in the open forever. It's just connect the dots. Connect the dots.
It's really scary. It's really scary that not more people are actually trying to make up their opinion about these things. Another thing that is very, very difficult to make up the opinion about, and it's a field where I am thirsty for more information, is because when we see Trump being better at collaborating with Putin, Vladimir Putin of Russia, especially as in oppose to Biden, how the Biden administration didn't at all have any representation with Russia officially. So it all was very, very difficult during the Biden administration. At least Trump is like having a connection and is trying to explore that connection with Putin. But then the question appears: what's Russia's part in all of this? What is Putin's part in all of this? And there was something in the mainstream media of Denmark that made me think about this recently, where there's an article about that Putin is actually having a connection to a Stasi spy, and that's his mysterious ties to America, to the US. But like there's something that this article leaves out. This is a mainstream article. It leaves out that first of all, Putin was actually a KGB agent. That's more or less most people know this, but also it's been said, and I'm not so sure where it's said. It's been said that he's was it an MI6 operative back in times. What's your opinion on Putin and Russia's part in all of this?
I don't know. I know that I don't know.
Yeah.
And I know also that Putin has always been a bit of a mystery to me. It's been like the Cold War was a creation by the same force. The reason for the Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings was to create the fear of the A-bomb, to be able to continue the war after the Second World War, to continue with a war, because they need the fear, tension to build their whole agenda on that. We are shitting ourselves, so we accept that whatever they say. But when you look at the Cold War, it becomes more and more clear that that whole thing was a psychological operation more than a real thing, but where so many of the people involved on both sides believed in it, but it was not what we were being told. And so in that whole thing, we have East, West, and Russia and look also how the Communist Party, these things, who created the Communist Party in Russia, who was behind the Russian Revolution. We're back to the same banker families connected to Sweden, like the Aschbergs, the Wallenbergs, the Palme, Olof Palme's family in the background were the creators of the Indian Communist Party, the Palme Dutt. They were part of also with the Aschbergs to fund the whole revolution. Lenin was actually in Stockholm getting his last preparation for the overtake and how to get rid of the Tsar family. That was the idea, and to put this whole horror machine into
Action.
to action. But you had like the Palme family was so, it's another one of these families, like the Bildt family, the Palme family, the Wallenbergs, the Aschbergs families, incredible, like this, entangled into different intelligence agencies, the Kim Philby cell, that's spy cell. The Palme family was directly connected to it. They had Alan Dulles as a guest in their home when he grew up. They also had Hermann Göring, who was married to a Swedish woman who lived just down the road, as a guest in their house. It's like whoa, 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 and then you see how the whole thing is like this, and then boom. So let's get back to Putin. I'm the one who's saying that he was MI6 because I heard, if it's true or not, I do not know. But I heard an interview with an MI6 agent many years ago, way before Putin became who he was. And he said that when he was being trained as an MI6 asset in the US, and sorry, in the UK, in one of these training facilities were some Eastern Bloc young operatives as well. One of them was Vladimir Putin. And so I remember saying, whoa, what did you just say?
If that's true, yeah.
So it's like, but then you see like I can't remember how, like for instance, with Olof Palme, his grandfather's uncle or something like that. Something like that. I have in my book, Coup d'etat in slow motion, I have the networks, but
Yeah.
I think his grandfather's grandfather or uncle or something like that was the head of the KGB. It's like, it's this close. Another of his uncles on his mother's side were in the Nuremberg war
Right.
tribune, being accused of crimes against humanity because he was in the board of IG Farben, and with so it's Russia, all of these different connections into a small little group of families like this. So we have Vladimir Putin, KGB for sure. That's official if that's true, but that is what we're being told. MI6 possibly. How do they even connect these things? But when you look on an international level, you have the CIA, you have South African BOSS, you have Israeli Mossad, and so on. On a street level, they look separate, but the higher up you come, or actually the lower down you get into the dark cellars of these forces, you see more and more how they're connected. And then they just use each other, and depending on how many operations, when they carry things up, they're from multiple different nations, the operatives, so that if anyone gets taken, it cannot be sort of tracked down to a specific area. It's plausibility, the whole thing also. So according to Klaus Schwab, who's the head of the World Economic Forum, if they haven't manipulated that video, but I've heard him on stage say that Vladimir Putin was one of the first ones, I think it was 92, that he graduated from the young global leaders. Either he said that to destroy Putin, or it's true. Zelensky was a graduate of the year 2000, I think. But you have so many of these, Jacinta from New Zealand, Trudeau from Canada, so many of these young, beautiful men, women, very often women, that looks good at screen, but super young, and so that just comes from nowhere, and boom, suddenly a prime minister here, and Finland there, and this, all of them connected to the same agenda. Look at their actions. Don't listen to their words. Look at their actions. When you see that they're loyal to that then you have to start questioning.
Present King of Denmark,
Oh
Prince
God.
Frederik. He is a young global leader from 2009.
Yeah.
His Queen, Queen Mary, she's a young global leader from 2012. The Norwegian Prince Håkon was also from 2009 or 12, I can't remember.
Yeah.
And I think there's the Swedish house, royal house, was in there as well as young global leaders. This is it's
It's
and Putin,
all
I can vouch for that because they actually removed him. I saw it before they removed him from World Economic Forum's pages back in 2022. He was there the one day, the next day he was gone. He's a World Economic Forum guy as well.
yeah, but that's how you can completely discredit someone as well. You know, so it's a tricky one. You have to be a little, because that's, if you have an enemy, very easy. You have access to your own website. You just put the name up there. So you look at him, you can't trust him. He's a traitor. He's
That's
one of
true.
ours. So it's like, this is the thing with agents, double agents, triple agents. It's like an enigma inside of smoke and mirrors. So don't take anything for sure. I'm just saying that according to this video, if it's not manipulated with, if it's true, Klaus Schwab said that that Putin was one of theirs. In that case, what does that mean? Because he could have been theirs also. And then sometimes, just like the Shah of Iran, when he had been in power long enough and suddenly, due to the oil embargo and stuff, suddenly got a massive amount of income that got to his head, so that he started building up a massive big army. So it ended up with him sitting on his throne, you know, this peacock throne, and started giving the fingers to his former rulers, saying, you can just fuck off. I know that I was your puppet, you know, I was doing your stuff. Now look at me, fuck off, I'll do. And so they took him out and brought in Khomeini. So is that what happened to Putin, that he was an asset and then he came into a power position with enough muscles behind him where he just said, well, now you can fuck off. I don't know, and became I don't know. I don't understand when these things, it's so easy to buy into these things and say, yes, this is the truth, because you also have control opposition and also our need for heroes. So we need somebody as a hero, and so they will deliver a hero that will say exactly the things that we will say, oh my God, finally here's someone we can trust because he said that. Well, did he really? Or were we fed that, and were other people that needed to hear something different from the very same person, were they fed something else?
It's true.
It's, I'm at
Propaganda.
I tell you, I'm at a point where I just feel I'm taking a step back. I'm taking a step back.
I was just about to say, how do you cope, Ole, with this?
I'm doing great. I'm taking a step back because at this point, I can't trust anything except my heart. I know that my heart is true. I know that the voice in my heart, just like in yours, it's very quiet. I need to quiet my mind to hear it. I need that my heart will guide me in the right direction. This is the one that can get confused. And the more information, and also what they completely specialize is releasing information like this at all times, stating that this is facts. That's it's even called something I forgot, but that's a technique of how to mess with your brain completely. Boom, like this, left and right is the way. It's true. Yes, like this. So we
Create the
get
cognitive dissonance. They need the dichotomy. That is the two opposing arguments, and then we need Trump in one corner, Biden in the other corner, Putin. We need those two things too. So we focus on the person and all the shenanigans that this person like Trump can create, and at the same time, you know, they just make sure that things go their way when we are not watching.
so.
But a last question, Ole, because and this is a personal conundrum for me, and has been for nearly the 5 years I've been active in Yeah, and discussing these things. Where's the rebellion? Where's the revisionist rebellion? Where's the people getting together, or at least some good researchers like yourself, getting together with other good researchers, making together a wave of information that is not easily stopped. It's bugging me why there's so little, let's say, waves of people getting together and joining their forces in tumbling over these masters of deception. I mentioned this name, Ian Carroll, who is very popular in a lot of the social platforms these days, with a lot of extremely well reporting videos. Much of the information is extremely good, and at the same time, he's doing shows with Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, and so on, and then I just know that he's just here to, at least that's what I feel inside when someone comes out of absolutely nothing and then makes this way. I think I'm trying just to answer the question that I'm posing to you, Ole. Where's the rebellion?
I've been asking myself that for about 40 years, but what I know is that the only one I can change is me. I can't change anyone else. I can share, and if anyone is interested, then maybe this can affect that person, hopefully in a positive way. So I can live by example instead of trying to force anyone. Maybe that can inspire someone to say, well, if he can, then I can. And I know that Mahatma Gandhi, he said one time, sometimes I get really sad and I get in despair. I and he said, and then I comfort myself by knowing that emperors and empires and dictators have come and gone. For a while, they looked invincible, that they could not, they were all empowered and could not be conquered. But then, sooner or later, these empires destroy, and they destroy from the inside out. They fall on their own and they just crumble. And the way I see it is that truth heals and lies and corruption creates absolute shite and manure and poisonous, toxic in all areas, toxicity in all areas, including the world they are creating for themselves, because they build everything on lies. They become masters of deceiving and traitoring acts, again, backstabbing and their own desires and and it ends with them killing themselves. They destroy themselves from the inside. That is the way of this world, I think. So what can I do? I can focus on beauty, and I can focus on love, and I can focus on 1 minute at a time, one like this. I don't expect anything from anyone. I don't expect the world to suddenly turn around and say, yay. I really hope that I have not been part of creating violent thoughts or violent acts. That would be a complete failure if or spreading fear. I know I talk about dark stuff, not my intention to create or spread fear. And other than that, I don't even know if we're living in a matrix or not. If we're in a matrix, then all of this doesn't mean anything. It's just a hell of a ride. My God, we got villains like the Klaus Schwab. I mean, where's the German accent and the white cat? That it's all there. It's like amazing. This roller coaster with all kinds of trauma and romance and drama and all. It's all there. Because I really don't know what we're living in. So, but what I notice is that the more I am in balance, what I call divine synchronicity starts happening, where it's just like things that I couldn't even imagine. How the hell did that happen? Something is supporting, and just boom, doors that I've been knocking for, and then suddenly another one just opens like magic. I didn't even have to, the only thing I had to do was turn up. And suddenly just, I tell you one, I'll just give you an example. I just came back from South Africa, where since the mid-90s, I've been wanting to go to a absolute horrendous place called Daisy Farm. It is a farm 20 kilometers west of Johannesburg, where the death squads of the apartheid regime they used it to torture and murder people. There were two places, Vlakplaas and Daisy Farm. And in that farmhouse, they also planned the assassination of Olof Palme in 1990, yeah, before 1985. 1985, the planning took place there. One group of the assassination. And so I've been wanting to find that place for some reason, but I think it's because I think when I go to these places, it's on a soul level that I'm not really aware of, but it's like for me to free these suffering souls and bring some light into this horrendous darkness. Anyway, so I was in South Africa 7 years ago. I tried to get to Johannesburg, but it was like 1,200 kilometers, and I was there with my family, and I was scared of, they say, oh, it's the murder center capital of the world. You can't go there on your own. You can't. Okay. Anyway, so I dropped it, but I was never able to pinpoint exactly where Daisy Farm was, because it was deliberately, they put it so that people didn't know where it was. But it was in documentaries and stuff where they mentioned this whole thing. And so about 6 months ago, I was invited to South Africa by a friend that I didn't know. He said, you look absolutely exhausted. Come here. I have this place. You can stay for a month or whatever. Just take care of yourself. And I was like crawling across the finishing line of last year, which also I feel was the end of a soul contract when it comes to these type of things that I've been doing. There was a finishing where I fulfilled that whole thing. Anyway, so I went down there and I was trying to pinpoint. This was up in northeast of South Africa, so like 6 hour drive from Johannesburg. But I was trying to pinpoint where it's Daisy Farm, because it's not on a map. It's not like that. But I knew that it was very close to a river called Crocodile River. Okay, and so I've been studying that map for like years, trying to where is it? And then we're up there in northeast of South Africa, and my friend, he lives in a national reserve, and he had a personal assistant who just dropped by that day. And we're sitting down talking. I said, so where do you come from? And she said, well, I'm actually born in South Africa. Okay. Where? Well, it's a place, like west of Johannesburg. I think it's called Kaisersdorf or something like that. And I was like, what? What? Say again? Because I recognize that the name of that from somewhere in that area. So I said, have you by any chance heard of Daisy Farm? She said, yeah, I've been there. It's like, what? Yeah, I used to live on the other side of Crocodile River. And when I was a teenager, we heard the rumors of the awful things that happened up there. So we swam across the river and we went up there, but it was like falling apart. It's military area. And so she had been there. So she managed to pinpoint on a map for me where Daisy Farm was, because I thought it was here. She said, no, it's actually there. And it made perfect sense. I just got goosebumps all over when she pointed out. I thought, that's it. After all of these years, that's it. And then I said, there's this other place, Flagplas. And in the area, it's like 20, 30 kilometers somewhere in the area, but many places are called Flagplas because apparently it just means flat ground or whatever. And that is where the C1 death squads, super top secret assassins were gathering. And I mean, it was a place of absolute horror. And so I said, but have you any idea about Flagplas? And she said, I heard about it, but I tell you, let me call a friend of mine. He's a historian and he might know anything. It turned out that he had lived on Flagplas after they deserted it when it was exposed. They left it just to fall down. And he had, after a divorce, he went there. He stayed for 5 months in Flagplas, the farm itself. What are the chances? What are the chances of me meeting someone who just pinpointed these? Do you know, it's like do you know how big South Africa is? And she used to live like 500-600 meters from the place. And she even got married overlooking that place. I mean, you just have to like surrender into. And so I managed to get to that place, which was not easy. And through a lot of these synchronicities, divine synchronicities where doors just open. I couldn't get to Daisy Farm from the right side because it was closed off. It's been abandoned, but it's still like they completely destroyed it. So the only way I could get there was from the other side of the river. And in the end, I managed to cross it in a kayak made for a child. And I managed to it's like up and hidden in the hills with area that's a lot of really poisonous snakes and stuff like that. And the grass was up to my face like that. So I walked through all of this, just saying, please, dear Mr. Snake, I come in peace. Can you please stay away? But anyway, I managed to get up there. I found the place they destroyed it down to rubble, absolute rubbles. And I walked around there. I took some footage, and then I did a prayer, really not really knowing what I did, but I do think that I know why I did it, to release the horror from this place. And it just felt a lot more peaceful when I left. Went back down on the bank of the river where they used to get rid of the bodies. There was a lot of people killed up there. So they used to have a barbecue down on the riverbank and then burn the bodies next to them on tires. They burnt them. So that's where I had the kayak. That was so tight. It was, I mean, I could just squeeze myself into it, but there was no stability sideways and I couldn't get my legs out. And
Crocodile River doesn't sound very nice.
It's a sewage as well. The water was so dirty. And also there was a current, quite a strong. Half of the river was quite calm, but then half of it was like quite a strong current. And so I pushed myself out in the kayak, and halfway over it just tipped over, so upside down. So really there was a few seconds where I felt this is not good. I can very easily die here. So, but I managed to get up, and then a second time it just I had it filmed. A friend of mine filmed it. It just like something is like an unseen hand is just tipping me over. There's nothing no reason that it. So, and the second time I can't remember how I managed to somehow get out of it, and then carry this canoe or kayak that was completely water filled to the other side, and mission accomplished. There was about 24 hours where I was puking afterwards of this sewage water. And also I found the head of the death squad, his private home, and it's just a stone throw from the home of Nelson Mandela. Can you believe it? These opposites, the light and the dark. And so, but this woman who had helped me find it, when she saw this whole thing, because I felt I'm so clumsy. It was, that this happened, even though I'm so happy. It was so worth it, all of it. But she said the way she saw it was that I went up there into the darkest of the dark of this horror, prayed and took the energy with me, and then I took it down to the Crocodile River, and in the Crocodile River I got baptized twice, and also this energy was released into the sewage and down the stream. And for me that was a very beautiful way of seeing it, and I just felt that and so when I was puking, I was thinking about that, because it was a lot more purging and than puking. You know, it was like the energy I was just puking it out. So, but the reason I'm telling you is like, what are the chances?
It's definitely easy to understand why you've been adopted by the Apache Nation when you tell a story like this.
Well, there you go. But what I'm saying is that there are forces that are working with us that are so much bigger and hidden from us, like that are opening when the time is right, when you synchronize yourself, when body and mind aligns, spirit enters, you get inspired in spiritus. That's when things happen. When you are in too much in the mind, too much in mindset and fear, downward spiral. So lift yourself. Yes, it looks horrible. Yes, that's what all movies does. At the end of a movie, it's absolute chaos. The hero is going to die. Oh my God, there's no way out. That's about where we are now. And then if you keep the focus, if you keep watching and detached emotionally and just let yourself suddenly, hero survives, he gets the beautiful princess, and the end, and they lived forever after, happily married or not. But we are in the end of times. We are in a death and a birth process at the same time. I think there's one part of it is dying. It's a brutal death, and another part is being born. And we cannot bring luggage into the next level. We have to purge, we have to deal with these sides of ourselves that is not healed. So instead of looking out and saying, oh my God, Trump did this, and oh my God, Elon had this, and oh, wait for a hero, deal with yourself. Meet your inner shadows, meet your things, get your thumb out of your butt and do something. If you know in your heart, I should do this, whatever it is, I should help my neighbor, I should stop shooting, just do it. Oh God, I sounded like Nike now, but just do it, you know, follow your heart and be brave enough to do it. And then, yes, it might be turmoil and stuff, but I tell you, there's a beautiful, beautiful future waiting, and it's right around the corner. I don't think it's far away.
Ole, thank you so much for answering that question to me. Just like we asked before we went on here, there's a spiritual side to things, and if you don't keep your connection to the spiritual side of yourself, you kind of easily get lost in the thick of things. You've been definitely for 5 years light for me and for many others. I participated in your Strong 11 program just last year. I encourage everybody to sign up for your newsletters and support the vault of information that you are and that you have actually physically, which is also something you can sign up for. Are you making another 11 Strong program, or what do you have in the pipeline for the rest of 2025 for people who want to participate in your research?
I'm creating space for myself right now. I've been doing 40 non-stop, and now it's like I said, the end of December, I was crawling across the finishing line, and I felt I have fulfilled my contract. Up until then, I felt a duty. This, and also interviews and stuff has really empowered me. I felt yes. After that, I couldn't even think of doing anything. It's just like no. I can't. So right now, I'm creating space, and just when it feels warm, I do it. If it feels cold, I don't do it. You and Isabel, from 11 Strong, both of you are the only ones I've said yes to. That's not true. More than one or two other. Otherwise, I've just cancel, and just creating space that can be filled with something new, and I don't know what that is. And now, Fleming, I need to shoot off. So
Yeah, I know. Thank you so much, Ole.
thank
Thank
you.
you for being you. Thank you for being the light for so many other people.
Thank you so much.